Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at validating a string. So if you remember, a string is essentially text. So I kind of just set something up generic here. Let's call it adventure time. So you enter a cave with your torch and see an axe and sword lying near a skeleton. You're greeted at the entrance by a giant spider slowly moving towards you. So I just made a button in an input box, and you can see the script is missing. So the idea behind this, there was a game, King's Quest, where you had to put in exactly the correct combination of words to advance. And we're going to take a look at how to put in a valid string, basically. And remember, a string is just, something with text. Okay. So to do this, you've been using onClick. Now, onClick is sort of going the way of the dinosaur. It's going to go extinct. onClick still exists, but it's now within a major category called Event Listener. And if you've ever been on a website, there's always a pop-up that says please accept cookies. And then you click a button and you're allowed access to the website. Or if you're on a website for a duration of time, say 5 to 10 seconds, the event that you see is a pop-up for an ad. Or if you click a button, it gives you a pop-up. Or if you scroll to a different place. So anything that can take place on a website is called an event. And the code is, or the browser is listening for that event. So you call it an event listener. So the event we want to take place is we want the user to click a button. So if we define the button, constant button, get element by ID button, and that's something that you're used to. So here's the button right here. Okay. Now, just to quickly clarify, you can put type text, and you should be able to put numbers in, but it doesn't look at it like an integer. And remember, an integer is using a number as 1, 2, 3. See how they scale up? Like I have one more apple, I have 2 more apples, 3 more apples. That's an integer, it scales. Text means you're looking at a number like text. So even though it's like pick up 4 apples, the computer's going to look at the number 4 as 4. Okay, and you're used to this. It's going to document write something beneath this box right here, or this input box right here, and the button. And again, you can arrange this however you want. If you want to add breaks or whatever, and you can name, let's say instead of click here, you put make your decision. Make your decision decision. And we reload, and it says make your decision. It's not accepting the breaks. That's fine. We can mess with that later. All right, next up, so you have constant button. So I have a constant, and I named it btn, and it's named button up here. Okay, try to keep it different so you don't confuse it, and you're going to get element by ID. Okay, next you want to add the event listener, and this is how you do it. So you're going to trap it within parentheses. So it's button, here's button, dot add event listener, and that's how you add an event listener. And then you set parentheses, and we're going to put a ton of stuff in the guts right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and you want to add the parenthesis, but give it some room. So it doesn't, you don't want that to go away, otherwise this will break. So we got to add stuff into the guts. Now you can add many different events to the click of a button, but for right now we're just going to add a click, And we want this contained, and if you want something contained and you don't want it to apply to the entirety of the page, you create a function. So we're going to call this, a function as well. And you add the curly braces as you would in any normal function. So you have the event listener, and the curly braces. So you're going to put a curly brace down here because remember, if you recall, if you have like a normal function, you got to trap the function. Now it can get a little confusing. You may have the sort of the instinct to kind of trap these like that. And that isn't what you're doing, because a lot of the times you may be like, oh, I need to add more parentheses to trap this stuff. And you're pretty much already doing that with this down here, but you want to make sure you don't complete that the match is down here and you don't add an additional parenthesis. So you have open parenthesis, curly bracket, and we're going to put the Boolean in here. And the Boolean is they have to put in the correct sentence. So I'm going to make it grab X. Okay. And that is the correct one. What happens if they put in the incorrect one? It's going to say incorrect, whatever phrase you want to add. So you want to first outline your true statement, and a true statement is always going to be the if statement. Now, an if statement, you got to put the rules to the if statement inside of parentheses. So you set your parentheses, and you want to document get element by ID, and you want to verify that what they put in the text box is true. So you put in document dot get elements by ID. There we go. Make sure it's camel cased out like that. And then what ID do you want to give it? So this is input. And so you do parenthesis, quote, input. So that's the name of the ID. And you wrap that in parentheses. Okay. And then you put a dot value. So whatever value is put into the input box, it's going to look here. Now, what do you want to set the value to? And remember, when you do this, you want 3 equal signs. And what do you want to set it to? Grab X. And it's wrapped in the parentheses. Make sure you have the quotes. And then you do the curly brackets. And so you want it to say grab X, and what do you want when they click the button and it verifies that it says grab X? What do you want to happen? Remember, we want a message to pop out right here. And since we have greeting right here, let's call it, let's just leave it as greeting. And so you want to document get element by ID. And you want what's called text content. So like I said, you set it to text and you want the contents of, This is, you want text and you want the content to be displayed as text right here. And what do you want it to say? Let's make it say giant spider defeated. And semicolon. So let's check to make sure this works.